Do not sell your Hellcats. Ever. Like ever. Don't ever sell your Hellcats. I'll tell you why. What's going on, guys? It is your boy Knockout 360 here with another video for you guys. As you can tell, I'm in a car that makes this a car vlog. You already know how it's going down. When I come around, let's go ahead and get into it. Car content, car shows, car reviews, car meets, anything and everything car related happens on this channel. So if you're into that, make sure that you stick around because you are in the right place. For everyone else, hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so that you know what's coming out and when it's coming out, right? So let's talk about it. Do not ever sell your Hellcats, right? Probably contrary to some of the things that I've said on the channel before about selling your Hellcats. But if you intend on owning a Hellcat at some point, as in you're working up to buy one, or you're like me, you're just waiting for allocation, whenever you get that allocation, you have to realize what you now have, right? What you now have is a 700 to 800 horsepower American muscle car and an American muscle car age, right? That may not seem like a lot in 2022, but in 2030, it's going to mean everything because there will be no more V8s in 2030, in 2040, in 2050. You see what I'm saying? At that point, these cars that we're driving right now, that we're having fun in, the 392s, the Hellcats, even the 392s, these cars that we're having fun with will be considered classic cars. Do you know what it takes to be considered a classic car? 20 years old. For you guys that bought your Hellcats in 2015 and you still have them now, that's 7 years. All you got to do is hold on to that motherfucker for another 13 years. And you know, like I know, that most people that own Hellcats don't daily drive them, so you don't have to worry about high mileage. The reason that that is such importance is just because cars like this are one of a kind. Now, you see people driving Hellcats and totaling them and fucking them up. I get that. We make them seem common just because of what we do to them and the fact that they're so affordable. I get that. But the reality of the situation is that 700 horsepower, 800 horsepower, American made, American manufactured automobile that can do over 200 miles an hour. That doesn't sound like a lot to us in 2022 because we see it all the time. We see it with Chevy, we see it with Ford and then the GT500s, we see it with the McLarens, the Lamborghinis, we see stuff like that all the time. It's not that big of a deal to us. But think about 10, 15 years from now. Think about 2035. Think about 2040, right? When, you know, there are no longer combustible engines. There are no longer gas-powered engines. There are no longer V8s and V6s and hybrid engines. Everything's electric. In those days, cars like this will be fucking like classic cars. Well, for one, they will be considered classic cars because the qualification for a classic car is over 20 years old. The qualifications for an antique car is over 45 years old. And a vintage car, that's between 1919 and 1930. That doesn't apply to us. But holding on to a Hellcat that you bought in 2015, specifically 2015, because that was the first year that they were released, right? So if you own a 2015 Hellcat, maybe even a Scat Pack at that point, 392, SRT 392, SRT 392s may be even more rare because they no longer make that trim. If you own a Hellcat or SRT 392 that you bought in 2015, in your mind, you're looking at it like it's old, it's this, it's that. It doesn't have the technology of a 2022 or what have you. True. But at the same time, that is a first generation Hellcat. There is a Dodge Demon in Florida as we speak that I'm about to make a video on that they are literally raffling off, or selling rather, auctioning off, excuse me. And the auction starts at, well, it doesn't start, but the auction is $500,000. That car had an MSRP of like $84,000 to $90,000, $84,000, I believe. That's like a quadruple, multiple markup. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even know how to quantify that. That's 4 or 5 times the actual value of that car. And it's a Dodge. And it's a Dodge, but the reason that the markup is so high on it is because of what it represents. It represents an 840 horsepower American muscle car made well, partially made in America by an American manufacturer in 2017. We will never see something like that again. We will not see another Demon. We will not see another 840, 850 horsepower, anything from any manufacturer, because, you know, like I know the Hellcats are dead in 2023. Everything from that point on is going to be big electricity. It's going to be electric engines or battery powered engines, you know? So that was a once in a lifetime deal to have an 840 horsepower gas powered muscle car. And even though the MSRP was like 84,000, for one, you wasn't going to find a Demon anywhere like under 100. You know what I'm saying? But even though that was the MSRP in 2022, not even 7 years later, that car is already going for 4 or 5 times its price. It's, you know, MSRP. And the good thing about that Demon is that Demon has under 10 miles. It's only got 3 miles on it. That's literally from the goddamn factory to the truck to whoever bought it, and whoever bought it didn't even drive it home, clearly, you know? And that's just in 2022. Imagine owning a 2015 Hellcat in like 2030 or 2040 or 2050, 20, 30 years down the line. Do you know how much that Hellcat's going to be worth? Because that's literally going to, these Hellcats mark a specific time in history right now. Between the 2015, and let's say even 2030. So maybe a 15-year period of time when car manufacturers just went crazy. They just put the biggest, most powerful engines that they could fit in a car. Ford did it with the GT500, 750 horsepower. Chevy did it with the ZL1, 650 plus horsepower. They did it with the Corvette ZR1, 700 and I think it was 750 horsepower. Dodge obviously has done it with every goddamn Hellcat that they've imagined, whether it was the Rango Hellcat, TRX Hellcat, Jeep Trackhawk, Jeep Grand Cherokee Trackhawk, Charger, Challenger, just putting the biggest fucking engines that they could in their car. Like, we're in this 15-year period, and I'm going to say 15 years because I imagine it's probably going to go on for another at least 5 to 7 years. 15-year period where these car manufacturers are literally just one-upping each other. It's just like Dodge did it first with the Hellcat. Then Chevy came back with the ZL1, 650 horsepower. Then they dropped the ZR1 at 750. Then Dodge dropped the Demon. Then Dodge dropped the Red Eye. Then Ford got into the mix with the GT500, 750 horsepower. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're living in that age where these car manufacturers are literally just trying to one-up each other with the biggest, most powerful anything that they can do. Like, you know that I know a Ford interior, a Dodge interior, Chevy interior is not worth $100,000 or $80,000. You know that. But you're not paying for that when you buy a Shelby GT500. You're not paying for that when you buy a Red Eye. Nobody buys a Charger for the gas mileage. Nobody buys a Hellcat for the infotainment center or the infotainment system. We buy those cars because we want big fucking engine, big power, loud power, big power, smoking tires. We want all that. And you know, like I know, the world that we're living in and the world that we're moving to with the current legislation, the administration that we have, they're trying to kill all V8s. They're trying to kill all of this stuff. A lot of cities and states as we speak have local legislation that bans people from having loud pipes. I think in California, you guys get state refs for having illegally modified exhausts. You run across the wrong police officer, he wants to take that shit seriously, you could, you know what I'm saying? Have to, you know, deal with that in court over having loud pipes. So we're getting to that place in time where they're really trying to kill the performance aspect of V8 engines and loud engines that we've always known and loved. So stuff like this is truly relics of the past, and we're literally living in the golden age of muscle. You know what I'm saying? So for you guys that own Hellcats, unless you plan on upgrading to a bigger Hellcat, a Red Eye, a Demon, or a Jailbreak or something wild, I would highly suggest, barring that, you know, you don't have financial struggles or financial issues, you really may want to consider keeping that Hellcat, because whether it's a Trackhawk, especially if it's a Durango, a 7-seater, 3-row, 700 horsepower muscle car, you will never ever see that again. You know, like, it was such a big deal that Dodge was only supposed to be making those cars for 1 year. 700 horsepower Durango, you know? So it's one of those things where you have to realize a diamond when you have the diamond in your hand, you know? Right now, a Hellcat, it's whatever, people so and so on. You know, Hellcats get beaten every day. Hellcats get smoked. I was watching this YouTube channel here recently where a wide body red eye Charger got smoked by like a tuned BMW. Like the BMW was trash, but it was tuned. And it beat him from a dig. And it's like, you know, whatever. But at the same time, guys, you got to realize what these cars represent. They not only represent power and sound and all that stuff, they represent like a golden age for muscle. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where, financially speaking, if you are able to afford your Hellcat, I would keep it, man. You know, I would really keep it. I would not sell it, because the Hellcat, just the name in and of itself, it's not like a GT or a Plus, a Charger Plus or something wild. The Hellcat name in and of itself rings true in every conversation. You know, I would keep it if I were you guys. When I get my Hellcat, I am not selling it. Whether it's a red eye or a regular Hellcat, I don't know. Still waiting on that. Literally, as we speak, still waiting on that. But I am not selling that motherfucking car. If, barring all financial, you know, crisis and all that good stuff, and no matter where your boy Joe Biden takes our country, but I am not selling that car. And I would highly suggest that you guys consider the same, especially you guys that own TRXs and Demons and Red Eyes and the Durango Hellcat. Like, cars like that will never, ever, ever be replicated. There will probably be just as powerful, if not more powerful, electric cars in the future. The Tesla Plaid has everybody's number. Hellcats, Red Eyes, Demons, TRXs, it has everybody's numbers. Well, not the Demon, because I actually saw a video of a Dodge Demon smoking a Tesla Plaid off the line. I think that was your boy Demonology. But regardless of that, this is the specific age where these manufacturers are literally just putting everything that they have on the table. And it's just like, let's give them everything we have before we can give them nothing at all. You know what I'm saying? It's like, let's give them everything that we have when it comes to a V8 before V8s no longer exist. Let's literally go out with a bang. So if you own a Hellcat between 2015, 2022, 2023, especially if you're buying one in 23 when that's supposedly the last year of the Hellcat, and if you own an original 2015 Hellcat, or Demon, oh my God, I would hold on to those cars as long as you can. Like, those should be the type of cars where you pass that shit down to your son. You know what I'm saying? On some Dukes of Hazzard type shit. Like, pass that shit down to your son and let that be your son's car, or Fast and the Furious rather. I'm sorry. You know, pass that shit down to your son, because performance like this, we will not be seeing in the next 10 years. It won't exist, you know? I wouldn't be surprised if cars are so technologically advanced in the next 10 years to where you get in that car, type in the destination, and just go. You know what I'm saying? Take a nap, chill. It's all good, man. But as always, guys, like, subscribe, comment. I just, you know, me and my homeboy was talking about it, and I asked him, you know, like, do you plan on selling your Hellcat? And he was like, no. And in this day and age, when you hear somebody say, I'm never selling my car, it's like, you like it that much? But when you think about what a Hellcat is and what it represents, and just the time that it was created and the time that it existed, you then have to ask yourself, okay, I see what you're saying. I wouldn't sell that either. You know what I'm saying? And the same thing goes for you 392 guys. If you have no interest in buying a Hellcat, keep that 392, man. You know? RT, I'm not sure about the RTs. Well, RT's probably so, just because it's got that 5.7 liter, that iconic 5.7 liter Hemi in it. You know what I'm saying? But the Hellcats, definitely. Red Eyes, definitely. Demons, Trackhawks, Durango Hellcats, TRXs, guys, if you have those types of cars, those are not the kind of cars that you want to be selling. That's just my 2 cents on the matter. As always, it's been your boy Knockout 360. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.